So you came into my home because of him? I came because I paid for a property I was told was available.
He sold my house while I was still alive. Part 2. Kule was still standing in the middle of the room, silent, tense, avoiding Ada's eyes. The air between them felt heavy, like something was about to break. Then a knock, soft at first, almost polite. Both of them froze. Ada's head turned slowly toward the door. Her heartbeat returned, fast, unsteady. Another knock, this time louder, more certain. Ada looked back at Kule. "Are you expecting someone?" she asked. Her voice was calm, too calm. Kule didn't answer. He didn't move. And that silence said more than words ever could. Ada's chest tightened. A strange feeling rose inside her, something deeper than anger, deeper than fear. The knock came again, sharp, impatient. Ada inhaled slowly. Then she started walking toward the door. Each step felt heavy, like her body already knew. Whatever was on the other side would change everything. Kule finally spoke. "Ada, wait." But she didn't stop. She reached the door. Her hand rested on the handle. For a brief second, she paused, closed her eyes, then opened them again and pulled the door open, standing there.
A young woman, neatly dressed, confident posture.
Clean hair, calm expression. The kind of woman would look like she knew exactly where she belonged. And right now, she looked like she belonged there. Ada breathed caught slightly. The woman smiled politely. "Good afternoon," she said. Her voice was soft, controlled. "I am here for Kule." The name hit differently this time, not like before. Now it felt sheer. Ada stepped inside slowly. Her eyes didn't leave the woman's face. "Come in," she said quietly. The woman walked in. Her step was steady, comfortable. Her eyes moved around the living room, taking everything in. The furniture, the walls, the picture. Like she was studying it, like she was already imagining it as hers. Ada noticed every single movement, every glass. Her chest tightened again. Kule shifted uncomfortably. "Ada, this is it. Don't." Ada caught in immediately. Her voice was still calm, but there was a warning inside it. She turned to the woman. "Who are you?" she asked. The woman faced her fully now, no hesitation. "My name is Sandra," she replied. A brief pause, then she added, "I am the one who bought the house." Silence, total silence. The word hung in the air, heavy, unreal. Ada blinked slowly, as if trying to wake up from a bad dream. "You bought the house," she repeated. Sandra nodded slightly. "Yes, the agreement was finalized recently." Ada let out a small breath. Not relief, not anger, something else, something broken. She turned slowly to Kule. "You didn't just sell my house," her voice dropped. "You already gave it to someone else." Kule ran his hand through his hair. "Ada, listen." "No," she said again. She raised her hand slightly, stopping him. Her eyes returned to Sandra. "Do you know?" Ada asked quietly. Sandra hesitated for the first time. Her confidence shifted just a little. "Know what?" she asked carefully. "That this house is mine," Ada said. Her voice was short but firm. "That I didn't sign anything." Sandra's expression changed slightly. She glanced at Kule, then back at Ada. "I was told everything was handled properly," she replied. Ada gave a small nod, slow understanding. "Of course you are told that," she said. Then she laughed softly. But there was no joy in it, because if you knew the truth, you wouldn't be standing here like this. Sandra crossed her arms gently. "I paid for this property," she said. Her tone still calm. "I followed the process I was given." Ada stepped closer, not aggressive, but intentional. "You paid a man who had no right to sell it," she said. Sandra held her gaze. "And that will be decided properly," she replied. The tension rose instantly. Kule stepped forward. "Both of you, please, stay out of this," Ada said sharply. She didn't even look at him. That hit Ada than anything, because now it didn't matter in that moment. Sandra looked around the house again, this time slower, more thoughtful. "I understand this is emotional," she said, "but I didn't come here to fight." Ada nodded. "I know," she said quietly. Her voice softer now, almost tired. "You came to collect what you believe is yours." Sandra didn't respond. because that was exactly it. Ada looked around her living room, her home. Every corner had memories, years of sacrifice, years of effort. Then she spoke again. But this house, she said slowly, is not something I will just hand over. Her voice was calm, but firm, unshakable. Sandra studied her carefully, then gave a small nod. Then we will let the proper authority handle it, she said. Ada nodded once, yes, a pause, a deep one. Then Sandra turned to leave. But before she stepped out, she stopped, looked back at Kule. Call me when this is sorted, she said. Then she walked out. The door closed, and just like that, the room fell silent again. But this silence was different, heavier, more dangerous. Ada didn't move immediately. She just stood there, processing everything. Then slowly she turned to Kule. Her eyes were no longer filled with confusion, or fear, or even anger. This time they were clear, cold, resolved. You brought her here, she said quietly. Kule swallowed hard. I didn't plan. You planned everything. Ada caught in. Her voice firm, steady. You just didn't plan to get caught. That landed deep. Kule had no response because for this first time, he had nothing left to defend himself with. Ada took a slow breath, then another, and she said something that changed everything. This is no longer between me and you. I asked lock onto it. This is now a fight. Silence. And in that silence, a new version of Ada was born. Not the woman who trusted easily, not the woman who ignored signs, but a woman who was ready to stand her ground, no matter what it would cost. His silence after Sandra left felt unbearable. The door had barely closed, but it felt like something far bigger had just ended, or maybe something had just begun. Ada stood still for a few seconds, her back facing Kule, her breathing slow. Control, Kule watched her carefully, unsure, uncertain. For the first time since he walked into that house, he looked nervous. Ada, he called softly. No response. She didn't turn, didn't speak, didn't move. Ada, please let me explain, he said again. Still nothing. Then slowly, Ada turned around. Her face was calm. No fears, no anger, no shouting. And that scared Kule more than anything because this was not the Ada he knew. What exactly do you want to explain? She asked quietly. Her voice was steady, too steady. Kule hesitated, her lip parted, but no words came out. Ada took a step closer. You said you had no choice. She continued. Good, another step. Now I'm listening. She folded her hands. Explain. Kule exhaled deeply, like a man carries something heavy. Then finally he spoke. I am in trouble. Ada, the words came out slow, heavy. Read. Ada didn't react immediately. She just watched him. How much trouble, she asked. Kule looked away, ran his hand across his face. A lot, a murder. Ada shook her head slowly. No, she said, her voice firmer now. Don't give me a lot. Give me the truth. Kule swallowed hard, then said it. I owe money. Ada's chest tightened slightly. To who? She asked. Kule hesitated again, and that hesitation made everything worse. To people you don't want to be informed with, he finally said. Ada stared at him, long, deep. So you are telling me, her voice dropped, that because of your decision. She stepped closer. You decided to sell my house. Kule raised his head quickly. Our house. Ada, stop saying that, she snapped. The room went silent again. Her breathing became heavier. You don't get to stand there and call it ours, she said. You didn't build it with me. You didn't struggle for it. You didn't stay awake at night, worry about how to finish it. Her voice cracked slightly, but you sold it. Kule's shoulder dropped. I was trying to fix things, he said. Ada let out a soft laugh. Painful, you keep saying that. She shook her head. But everything you face, she pointed at him, broke me. Those words hit hard. Kule looked down, ashamed, but Ada wasn't done. What do you do with the money, she asked. Kule hesitated again. That same hesitation, that same silence. Ada eyes now slightly. What do you do with the money, Kule? She repeated. I forced sharper now. Kule finally spoke. I used part of it to settle the debt. Ada waited because she knew there was more, and the rest she asked. Kule didn't answer immediately. Her silence stretched, long, uncomfortable. Then Ada's voice dropped, slow, dangerous. You didn't use everything for debt, did you? Kule closed his eyes briefly, and that was the answer. Ada stepped back slightly, as if something just hit her. Says, she whispered. Kule opened his eyes, but he couldn't look at her. I infested it again, he said. Ada blinked. Once, twice. You what? She asked. I tried to cover everything, he said quickly. There was another opportunity. Opportunity? Ada caught in sharply. Her voice rose now. You are still talking about opportunity. She laughed, this time louder, but completely broken. You lost money. She took a step forward. So you sold my house, another step. Then used the money to chase another risk. Her height faded again, but this time her voice dropped. You used my sweat. Kule face tightened. It was supposed to work, he said. Ada shook her head slowly. No, she said, it was never supposed to work. Silent, she looked at him, really looked, and for the first time, she saw him clearly, not as her husband, not as a man she trusted, but as someone else, someone she didn't recognize anymore. You didn't just make a mistake, she said quietly. Her voice calmed again. You made a series of choices. Kule said nothing because he knew she was right. Ada continued. You chose not to tell me. You chose to sign my name. You chose to say what wasn't yours. Her chest rose slowly, and then her voice dropped even lower. You chose to risk everything again. Silence filled the room, thick, heavy, final. Kule finally spoke again. I was trying to protect us, he said weakly. Ada smiled, but it wasn't a happy smile. It was the kind that comes from deep disappointment. You didn't protect us, she said. You protected yourself. Those words landed deep. Kule had no response. No, because for the first time, the truth was fully exposed. No excusing left, no ED, just reality. Ada took a slow breath, then said something that changed everything. I am going to fight this. Kule looked up immediately. What? This house is not going anywhere, she said. Her voice firm, unshakable. And what you have done, she paused, will not be ignored. Kule face change. Fear, real fear. Ada, please, he said quickly. We can face this. No, she said calmly. There's nothing left to face. Silence. Then she added softly. You didn't just lose money, Kule. Her eyes locked onto his. You lost me. And in that moment, everything between them ended. Not with shouting, not with anger, but with truth. Clear, final, inflexible. That night, the heart felt different. Not empty, not quiet, but heavy. Like the world themselves had everything and were holding the weight of it. Ada sat on the floor, right there in the living room, her back against the wall, her legs stretched out in front of her, her eyes open but distant. The light bulb above blinking slightly, then stayed steady, just like her breathing, slow, controlled, intentional. Kule was still in the house. She could hear his footsteps earlier, restless, moving from one room to another. Open door, closing them, as if he was searching for something, or maybe running from something. But Ada didn't move. She didn't follow him. She didn't ask questions. She didn't even call his name, because something inside her had gone quiet. Not weak, not broken, just quiet. And in that quiet, something was forming. Something new, something stronger. Hours passed, or maybe minutes. She couldn't tell. Time had lost its meaning. Her eyes slowly moved across the room. The sofa, the table, the curtain. Every single thing in that space carried memory. Moments of laughter, moments of hope, moments she once believed would last forever. She let out a slow breath. I really love him, she whispered. Her voice was soft, almost fanger, but it didn't break. Not this time, because now she was seeing everything clearly. No illusion, no excusing, no denial, just truth. Kule's voice came from the hallway. Ada, can we talk? She closed her eyes briefly, then opened them again. No, she replied calmly. Her tone was flat, not angry, not emotional, just final. Silence followed. Then his footsteps moved closer. He appeared at the entrance of the living room, standing there, watching her. I know I messed up, he said quietly. Ada didn't look at him. Her gaze remained forward. Say, she replied. Her voice carried a hint of dryness, not sarcasm, just truth. Kule took a step inside. We can face this, he said. Ada smiled slightly. A small, tired smile. Face what? She asked. She finally turned her head and looked at him. The trust, she continued. The house, she paused. All the parts where you became someone I don't recognize anymore. Kule had no answer. He stood there, silent, and that silence confirmed everything. Ada looked away again. You should sleep, he said softly. You look tired. Ada let out a quiet breath. I am tired, she said. I felt deeper now, but not the kind of tired sleep can fix. That's it in.
But she wasn't done. I am tired of trusting the wrong person, she added. I am tired of ignoring signs, she paused. And I'm tired of losing myself. The room rested, Kule faced tightly. Ada, he said, but she raised her hand slightly, stopping him. No more talking tonight, she said. Her voice calm, firm. I've had enough, Kule stated, like he wanted to say more. But something in her eyes stopped him. Something final. He nodded slowly, then turned and walked away. His footsteps faded, and eventually a door closed, leaving Ada alone, completely alone. For the first time that night, she shifted slightly, pulled her knee closer to her chest, wrapped her arm around them, and rested her cheek gently. Her eyes slowly filled with tears again, but she didn't fight them. She let them fall, quietly, softly, because this wasn't weakness. This was release. This was the last time she would cry over this. Minutes passed, then something changed. Ada lifted her head. Her breathing became steady again. Her tears slow, then stopped. Her eyes looked different now, clearer, stronger, resolved. This will not be the end of me, she said softly. Her voice carried something new. Strength, real strength. I didn't build this life just to watch it disappear. She slowly placed her hands on the floor, pushed herself up and stood. Her body felt lighter, not because the problem was gone, but because her decision was made. She walked toward the table, picked up the documents again, studied them carefully, this time not with fear, but with purpose. They think this is over, she said quietly. Her lips pressed together. It is not. She took a deep breath, then exhaled slowly. Tomorrow, she paused. Her eyes focused. I fight. Those two words carry everything. Pain, strength, determination. She walked toward her room, stopped at the doorway, looked back at the living room one last time, not as a victim, but as someone ready to take control. Then she whispered softly, "I choose me," and stepped inside, closing the door behind her.